Hey, what's up guys, my name is Charlie. Today we're going to be doing some more requested reaction videos, and this video was requested by Mike Does. Oh boy, so this video is Game of the Year Throughout the Years by Scott the Woz. Of course, more Scott the Woz. Everyone's been requesting some more Scott the Woz, because he's totally awesome, of course. Yeah, let's check out this video, shall we? Let's go.
In the best years of 2018, it's the Yearies.
The Yearies.
Hey y'all, Scott here, and welcome to the Yearies, the annual yearly Year of the Year awards that awards the finest in years this past year. Before we get to Year of the Year for 2018, let's take a moment to reflect on the years we've lost over the years.
Okay. In memory of 2018, 2017, 2016. Oh, don't count down, it makes me feel old. Oh.
Yeah, this might take a while. Yeah, it looks like we got about 6 hours to kill while that video plays. The problem is, after preparing for the Yearies so much, the only two things I'm good at discussing right now are years and games. So I just gotta come up with some year-based video game topics. Games and years. Can't have one without the other, and plus those two words are on my top 3 favorite concepts list, the third word being Jeff Keighley.
Here to present Game of the Year, Jeff Keighley.
It's as inevitable as this sentence having 27
Oh,
words in
boy.
it. Game of the Year is something that
BioShock,
every
I believe
entertainment
that was it.
publication squirts out each and every December. Of course, you get the side awards like Best Art Direction, Best PlayStation 4 Game, most likely to get shot in an Amish village, but Game of the Year is the one award that gets everybody's attention. Now, this term doesn't have much value to it in my opinion. With
Not
other
now,
entertainment
because it's
mediums
been
like
abused.
movies, the Academy Award for Best Picture is generally regarded as the most prestigious award a film can receive. Doesn't always mean the film's that great or entertaining,
Yeah,
but still,
it's been abused.
definitely the
Once
cream of
it's
the crop in
abused,
terms
then
of
it
film
doesn't
awards.
mean
Games
anything
don't really
anymore.
have that. Sure, the Game Awards is trying their hardest, but the phrase Game of the Year is thrown around so much, especially on re-releases of games. After a
Jesus.
game's run its course and all the downloadable content and updates are out for it, sometimes a Game of the Year edition is released with everything all on one disc. You see, that's all fine and good, but a lot of games that were never awarded Game of the Year still call the re-release the Game of the Year edition. For example, Dead Island Game of the Year edition.
I have that.
While many actively look forward to the announcement of Game of the Year from all the large gaming
For PC
publications or
anyway.
award ceremonies, tons of people take a moment to reflect on their personal gaming experiences over the past year, asking, hey, what was the best video game I played? Not me though, that's really something I think about. I don't
That's a
make it a
genuine
crazy big priority to
question.
immediately play a game in its release year, so when Game of the Year season comes rolling around, I don't normally pick one. I don't know, I just play a lot of games a year or so after their release, so the games I've played this year list generally looks pretty out there. I played BioShock Infinite a year after it
BioShock
released. I
Infinite,
played The
one of
Last
my
of Us 2
favorite
years after
games
it
of all
released.
time.
I played Nintendo Lab of
Absolutely
the Year it released.
incredible
You see
game.
why I don't immediately pick a game of the year? So why not make up for the past
Give
18
us a
years
go
of not
and
having a
wipe away
personal
the
game of the
debts.
year by going through some of my favorite sequences of 4 numbers and seeing what games were generally nominated for Game
Halo.
of the Year from the big
Amazing
fat
game.
publications
The
and
original.
what game I would personally pick. Even
The
if it
Xbox
wasn't generally
original.
nominated for Game of the Year. The general Game of the Year nominations for each year I'll be showing are just what I perceived as the general Game of the Year nominees. Kind of the average ones, the Game Awards and the big online gaming websites nominated. But what I pick as my Game of the Year will be solely based on what I played. And hey, why not? We'll go all the way back to 2001. Yeah, we're
Damn,
only covering my
2001.
post-fetus era. My pre-fetus era can wait another day. Now please keep in mind, when I say a certain game is my Game of the Year, it
That's
is
before I
solely
joined
based on
YouTube.
my opinion. And it
I
could
joined
be for a
YouTube back in
variety of
like
different reasons.
2006.
Which game was the most fun, which game was the most impressive, which game was the most groundbreaking. It really changes from year to year what constitutes as a game of the year for me. And also, there's a reason why these posters are plastered around the neighborhood. Please don't take me seriously. 2018 was a big fat whatever year for me. As a self-proclaimed publisher of Donkey Konga 2 enthusiast, this was a pretty weak year in terms of Nintendo offerings. Thankfully though, Sony picked up the slack and at the end of the year Microsoft said, oh shit, we could have released games this year. Generally Game of the Year nominees were God of War, Red Dead Redemption 2, Spider-Man, Celeste, and Monster Hunter World. I only played God of War and Celeste out of these, and it's really great that Celeste got some recognition. I mean, it's a sprite-based, hard-as-nails 2D indie platformer, so to see it competing for the same award as some of the largest entertainment productions of all time was pretty nice to see. God of War has been a pretty solid time. I haven't beaten it yet, but the storytelling and presentation are on another level, and it actually has gameplay. So far, it doesn't seem like the deepest thing out there, but nothing's more fun than throwing your axe and begging for it to come back home. Like I said, God of War has gameplay, which is something Red Dead 2 apparently doesn't have. Alright, Red Dead 2 does look freaky solid, but from what I've heard, it seems to prioritize realism and story compared to just being a straight up fun game. I do own it, just haven't popped it in yet. I heard it has a pretty slow start, but the people who stuck with it seem to greatly enjoy
I
it.
enjoyed Call
Solid
of
production
Juarez.
overall, it
Just
just
to
seems
note
that
that.
many preferred the first one.
I actually
Spider-Man and
really
Monster Hunter
enjoy Call
World
of
were
Juarez.
admirable contenders, but
very
let's be
first
honest, they definitely didn't stand too much of a chance in comparison to the others. Tetris Effect was one I saw in a few Game of the Year lists, and this game deserves 3 oofs in a row. This is a crazy experience, especially in VR. Doesn't help the fact that it's still Tetris, so it's
Oh,
kind of hard to
Jesus.
warrant this
It's
being
like virtual
a Game
reality.
Of the Year.
Jesus.
Shadow of the Colossus was also pretty banging, however it was a remake, so if there was a 2005 Game of the Year award in the 2018 Game Awards, it definitely would have cleaned house in that category. But what about
boy.
Smash Bros. Ultimate? Why wasn't that game nominated for Game of the Year that much? Well, Ultimate came out a little too late in the year to be eligible for a ton of awards. They're just gonna keep on making the deadline earlier and earlier. Can't wait for the 2030 Game of the Year to be announced on March 2nd, 2030. Also, while Ultimate's a great time, its focus on old content makes it hard to warrant winning Game of the Year. My Game of the Year was probably Smash Bros. Ultimate.
Smash Bros. Ultimate.
Breath
That's
of the
everyone's
Wild.
favorite, of course.
Okay, let's be fair here. 2017 was one of those magical years in gaming, where multiple companies pumped out genre-defining title after genre-defining title, all within the same year. General nominees were The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, Super Mario Odyssey, Horizon Zero Dawn, Persona 5, and PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds.
Oh god, PlayerUnknown's
Game Awards, the
Background.
Dice Awards, South by
That
Southwest
game
Game
is a
Awards,
piece of
and
shit.
countless
And
others
I've played
nominated PUBG for
hundreds
Game
of
the
hours
Year.
of
This
that
isn't
game.
scary stories to tell in the dark. This
Just
is
bugs off the
2017.
glitches.
I think it was kind of stupid that PUBG was nominated before it was even officially released. It was in early access, a public beta for the majority of the year, and it was really only nominated not due to its overall quality, but mainly just because it was the new multiplayer craze. Sure, millions upon millions of people were enjoying the game, and fun is what video games are all about.
I enjoyed
but
it as well, but my
wasn't
god,
officially
the
released.
lag.
Persona 5 was a huge game, but it didn't have the same general audience appeal that Mario Odyssey, Breath of the Wild, and Horizon all had. Horizon Zero Dawn was a beautiful, vast, open-world game that sort of had strengths and departments that Breath of the Wild had weaknesses in. For example, the story. However, Breath of the Wild completely redefined the open-world experience and got people who didn't play a ton of Zelda games like myself to fully beat one for the first time. I'm definitely more of a Mario fan, and while Super Mario Odyssey was an absolute blast and a fantastic game, it didn't really shake the world as much as Breath of the Wild did. It was mainly an excellent new 3D Mario game that showed off tons of creativity, while Breath of the Wild was just a bit more. But that wasn't all for 2017. Nier Automata, Cuphead, Neo,
Cuphead,
Xenoblade Chronicles 2,
boy.
Hellblade, Wolfenstein 2, Assassin's Creed Origins, Resident Evil 7,
Resident
Sonic
Evil
Mania,
7, yep,
and Puyo
Sonic
Puyo
Mania.
Tetris. It's obvious 2017 was a huge year, but if I had to pick a game of the year, it has to be Breath of the Wild.
Of course, Zelda.
Oh god.
It's always Zelda.
2016 was one of my favorite garbage years
Paper
in gaming.
Mario.
Nothing really stuck with me this year, and the general nominations were all over the place. Most major
Doom.
publications had all different kinds of
One of my
games
favorite
running for the big
Bethesda
one.
games of all
Doom,
time.
Uncharted 4, Overwatch, Inside, The Witness, XCOM 2, Titanfall 2. These were the major ones. I played Doom and Uncharted 4, both pretty solid games.
I've
Doom
played
was a
the
fun
shit out of
blast
Doom. It's
testosterone, and
amazing.
Uncharted 4 was a nice conclusion to Nathan Drake's story.
Best Bethesda game
A
ever
far too long nice
created.
conclusion to Nathan Drake's story, but still, a nice conclusion to Nathan Drake's story. Honestly though, my 3 favorite games were probably Ratchet & Clank, Kirby Planet
Ratchet &
Robobot, and Pac-Man Championship Edition 2. I'd probably say Ratchet & Clank was my game of the year. That game was just plain straight up fun. Right after I beat it all over again. Uncharted 4 was probably more impressive overall, but nowhere
Never
near
played
as fun.
Uncharted.
Just replaying an hour of it, I was squirming in my seat ready to stop playing. Like, I really enjoyed my time with the game, but I already played it once. It's not something I want to play again,
Yeah.
at least for the foreseeable future. I loved Pac-Man Championship Edition 2, but it was definitely a game that had to grow on you. At first
Yeah.
it seemed like a less interesting, weirder version of Pac-Man Championship Edition DX, but over time I grew to love it. Kirby Planet Robobot was just an excellent Kirby game, definitely my favorite of all time, but I'm still giving it to Ratchet & Clank. 2015 was a better 2016, and all I had to do was change a number. The Witcher 3, Metal Gear Solid 5, Fallout 4,
Fallout
Bloodborne,
4,
Rise of the
oh
Tomb
boy.
Raider, Super Mario Maker,
Super Mario
and for me
Maker.
it's really between the last two, Rise of the Tomb Raider and Super Mario Maker. I didn't play any of the other games, and Jesus Christ, saying this made me realize sometimes how few of the biggest games each year I play. Seriously, I hope you understand. Sometimes I
Rocket
just don't
League.
play a lot of the biggest games each year, and sometimes I do.
Nor do
generally
I.
play a lot of games a few years after they release, and I really don't know why I take pride in being tardy to the party with a lot of these games. I just started playing Yo Noid a whole 29 years
Noid.
after it released, so I'll tell you what I think about Fallout 4 in 2044. Anyway, Super Mario Maker was this magical experience that I always dreamed of as a kid, being able to make your own Mario levels.
Yeah, that's
it was
pretty
truly one of my
badass.
most anticipated games of the year. My game of the year was probably Rise of the Tomb Raider.
Rise of
Mario Maker
the Tomb
didn't
Raider.
disappoint me, I just didn't get as into it as many others. Still really love it, I just wasn't as crazy about it as I thought I'd be.
Look at
I
that
think
map,
I'm just
that's
not as ecstatic
insane.
about making my own levels as I was as a kid. Rise of the Tomb Raider, while I prefer its predecessor, was a great time, all because it gave me more of that sweet, sweet Tomb Raider reboot gameplay. It's like if Uncharted was more of a game, and I don't mean that as a jab to Uncharted. Tomb Raider simply has more game to it, while Uncharted is a better cinematic experience.
Yeah,
Overall,
Tomb Raider
2015
was a
didn't have
cinematic
ton of heavy
experience,
hitters
the
for me
latest one.
overall.
Tomb Raider
Probably
game.
because 2014 was jam-packed with them. This
2014.
will definitely go down in infamy as one of the hardest years for me to pick a game of the year. Start updating those textbooks, McGraw. Seriously, there really wasn't like one game to overpower everything.
Far Cry.
Some fantastic games released this year, but no game that was undoubtedly the best one. Definitely a lot of wiggle room for discussion. Nominees were generally Super Smash Bros. For Wii U, Bayonetta 2, Middle-earth Shadow of Mordor, Shovel Knight, Dragon Age Inquisition, and Hearthstone. Outside of those games, man, I adored Infamous Second Son, Donkey Kong Country Tropical
Oh, boy.
Freeze, Mario Kart 8, even Tomodachi Life. So many fun, great games this year. Shovel Knight was sort of the indie surprise to see on a few major Game of the Year lists, and hey, I really enjoyed Shovel Knight, but I wouldn't consider it one of my all-time favorites. It's still a phenomenal game, though. The Game of the Year for many publications ended up being none other than Dragon Age Inquisition. Nobody fucking talks about this game anymore. And I'm sure it's a great game and all, but this just never felt like, ooh, the best game of the year.
I don't think I've ever
most
played
were like,
Dragon Age.
"Fuck, we don't want to give the award to a game with the subtitle for Wii U. That just looked tacky. At the end of the day, though, I'm a tacky man who very much enjoyed Super Smash Bros. For 3DS and Wii U. These were the games 2014 was building up to for me, and honestly, they really didn't disappoint me at the time. In retrospect, I can nitpick these games to death, but overall,
Okay.
they were still probably my games of the year.
2013.
Now, this was what you called a year.
Ah,
And finally,
Zelda.
Game of the Year nominations I actually all played. BioShock Infinite, The
BioShock
Last of Us, Grand Theft Auto
amazing.
5, Super Mario 3D World, A Link Between Worlds, Tomb Raider. I played through all of these, and in terms of Game of the Year nominees I didn't play,
Oh, boy.
there was Gone Home and Dota 2. People think I hate Super Mario 3D World because I talked about hating it before. Actually, I think it's a perfectly fine and fun game, just nothing that interesting or exciting, and that's my main problem with it. It doesn't really do too much more than the bare minimum for a 3D Mario co-op game. I'm perfectly fine with it being just a linear obstacle course game. I'm just saying, this, and this look and are way more compelling and interesting than this. Mario 3D World is still a fun Mario game, it's just not much more than that. A Link Between Worlds is a similar situation. This is a great Zelda game, but it's pretty much just another Link to the Past. I mean, it'd be weird if it wasn't. It is the sequel, and it does have a lot of its own ideas, and they're all great. The whole wall merging mechanic and item renting spiel is all genius. I love it. But it's still pretty derivative of Link to the Past, so nothing mind-blowing, just another great classic Zelda game. The big three that really fought it out this year, though,
Grand
were
Theft
BioShock
Auto.
Infinite, The Last of Us, and Grand Theft Auto 5.
I never really liked
You were
Grand Theft
great,
Auto
I love you, but
5.
any and all characters in this game besides
Don't get me
Lara
wrong,
Croft
the
were effing
game's
bogus,
amazing and
it
the
was
story's
basically just a
incredible
multi-platform
and
Uncharted.
it's
Not
worthy,
that that's a
but
bad
the
thing,
online
Rise of the Tomb Raider
experience,
was
I
my
just
2015 game
can't
of the year.
stand
I'm
it.
just saying, there's a lot more competition this
Grand
year.
Theft Auto
The Last of Us
Online,
was a
it's just
phenomenal experience that I never
not
want
for
to
me.
have again. See, I love a lot of PlayStation exclusives,
just not
but
the
most
same.
of them are kind of just one and dones for me, you know? Like, I enjoyed going through all the Uncharted games, The Last of Us, Infamous Second Son, and most recently God of War, but I do not see myself wanting to replay them, especially The Last of Us. Now, my opinion slightly changed on BioShock Infinite over
BioShock
time.
Infinite.
I enjoyed what I played
Amazing
back in the day,
story.
but all I remember was the game feeling
amazing-
pretty repetitive after everything was said and done. Story sequence, fight this mob. Story
Yep.
sequence, fight this mob. Story sequence,
But it
over
was
and over and over again.
the
So I always said,
simplicity
yeah,
I
it was
really
alright, but
enjoyed.
felt pretty monotonous after a while. However, I did recently replay a bit of it after I... what have I been doing the past 5 years? Oh yeah, got older, and I'm able to appreciate the world of BioShock Infinite a lot more.
Yeah.
Still, I'd probably say The Last of Us would beat it though. Its story is really compelling, yet incredibly easy for anybody to understand. Like, I can summarize this game in a quick paragraph, and you could still tell it was a great story. You'd still want to see it played out. BioShock Infinite, I'd be explaining the story for 30 minutes, waving my arms around, and even I would have a hard time comprehending the plot. It's not a bad story by any
It's a
means.
really
I just think
difficult
comparatively,
thing
The
to
Last of Us does a better
understand.
job delivering a story anybody can become attached to and understand. Grand Theft Auto 5 wins. I'm sorry, but Grand Theft Auto 5 is fun, has a decent story,
Yeah.
is infinitely replayable, and
It's
technically
fun.
impressive.
Apart from the
The Last of Us
online,
and
I
BioShock
can't
Infinite have
enjoy
great
the
plots,
online
but
experience.
I just don't want to replay The Last of Us, and BioShock's gameplay isn't the most consistently enjoyable thing out there.
That's a shame. Alright,
There was a year
2012.
before 2013? Gotta be honest here, 2012 was a
Mass
pretty boring year
Effect.
for gaming as a
Oh,
whole.
fuck
Sure, my
me.
favorite worst Nintendo console out there released alongside a new Mario game, but the only thing New Super Mario Bros. U will ever be known for was being a new Mario game. Seriously, what even released in 2012? Mass Effect 3?
Mass Effect 3,
NBA
yep.
2K13? Well, looking at general Game of the Year nominees, they were The Walking Dead, Dishonored, Journey, Fez, Halo 4, holy
Halo
shit,
4.
I never played any of these, and there wasn't a ton of other amazing games that came out that I played. Like, what are my options? Like, New Super Mario Bros. 2 and Sticker Star? I would have played Kid Icarus Uprising, but when I bought it on Amazon, they sent me the European version. I couldn't play it, so I still haven't played this
Damn,
game.
that
But,
sucks.
oh yeah, never mind, apparently Gravity Rush came out in 2012. I love Gravity Rush! I played through it for the first time in 2017, and on the first playthrough, I enjoyed it. The second playthrough, I really enjoyed it.
I recommend
The
Lost
third
Odyssey
playthrough,
for
I
the
kinda
Xbox
realized this is a
360.
great game. I
That
love
game,
so
Lost
much about
Odyssey,
it,
is an
especially the art
amazing
style.
experience.
The look of buildings in the distance being rough outlines.
I don't know
really
if he's
sells
gonna
the whole
mention
comic
that.
book thing they're going for.
Lost
I
Odyssey
love
for the
Cat, I
Xbox
love the world.
360.
It's just such a fun
But
game that took
it's
some
an
time
incredible
for me to truly
game.
embrace. but
One of
there's
the
no
best
going back
role-playing
now.
games I've
Please
played.
play this if you haven't. Please. 2011 is what us in the year industry considered to be one of the thicker years of gaming.
what's
so
this?
much stuff came out, and a lot of it was crazy high
Batman,
quality. Batman Arkham
there was-
City, Skyward Sword, Uncharted 3, Portal 2, Skyrim.
N.A.
I dabbled in
Noire,
all of these
that
games,
game.
but Uncharted 3 was the one I
Skyrim,
saw through till the very end, and it is not my game of
no.
the year. I liked Uncharted 3, but it just felt like more of Uncharted 2, but
Never played
not as
Uncharted,
impressive
like
as
I've said.
Uncharted 2 was when it released. So that leaves us with games I personally loved a ton from this year. Super Mario 3D Land gave some much needed worth to the 3DS, and while it's not the greatest Mario game out there, the level design was so good for handheld play, and it made those darn dang two characters in the 3DS's name worth something. But Sonic Generations, oh my god, this was such an amazing game back in the day, and it's still a great time. I'd argue 3D Modern Sonic was topped with this game, and the 2D sections featuring both modern and classic Sonic weren't too bad, albeit they were the worst parts of the stages.
Yeah,
Bulletstorm
very
was a fan
frustrating.
favorite, and it was just a straight up fun shooter. Rayman Origins is a great game.
Rayman
and I do dig
Origins,
some LA Noire.
LA
But
Noire, yeah.
honestly, out of all the games I played in 2011, I probably enjoyed Sonic Generations the most.
Of
Mario
course.
3D Land is definitely up there. I played a ton of this game back then, but Generations basically made me want an Xbox 360 more so than ever before. And wouldn't you know, I got one that year. Red Dead Redemption, God of War 3,
2010.
Halo Reach, Mass Effect 2,
Halo
Super Mario
Reach,
Galaxy 2,
amazing
all
game,
these Game
Mass
of the Year
Effect 2,
nominees, but no GoldenEye
amazing
007 on Wii. I love the GoldenEye remake. Yeah, I said it. It was the best first-person shooter on
Mass
the
Effect
Wii,
2 is
no
the
doubt. And
best
the
I've ever
multiplayer was a
played
little thing us
out of
GoldenEye
the whole
Wii
entire
fans
Mass
call
Effect
fun.
franchise.
Red Dead Redemption is some great
Number
stuff,
2 is the
just
best.
like Grand Theft Auto in a debatably much more interesting time period and environment. And Donkey Kong Country Returns was a great comeback for the series on 3DS, because the motion controls in the original Wii version make me... But I'd feel a little weird if I didn't pick Mario Galaxy 2, the sequel to my
Of
favorite
course.
game of all time, Pac-Man Championship Edition DX. This game was phenomenal. It was everything I wanted in a modern Pac-Man game. This is my 2010 Game of the Year. I only have a little shame. 2009, we got Batman Arkham Asylum, Assassin's Creed 2, Left 4 Dead 2, Uncharted
Left 4 Dead 2,
remember
amazing
when Call
game.
of Duty games got nominated for Game of the Year?
I want a Left 4 Dead
Finally, we
3.
have Uncharted 2. Definitely my favorite of the Uncharted
Well,
series.
we all
I
know
think I like
Valve
Punch-Out
doesn't
on
make
Wii more. God, now this is what you call a retro
third
revival.
game.
Punch-Out brought back so much from the franchise's past and plopped it into a game that looks fantastic and plays even better. But it's definitely a shame it plays it crazy safe and doesn't throw a lot new out there. But we can't forget Wii Sports Resort. Say what you will, but this is such
God,
a
I've
fun
played
game.
the fuck
But
out of this
honestly, even
game.
when I think I had more fun with that and Punch-Out, I'm giving my Game of the Year to Uncharted 2.
Hmm.
It really nailed not only being a good game, but a huge cinematic experience as well.
God,
Punch-Out
Uncharted
was
is
mainly just a blast from the past. And
sort
Wii
of getting
Sports Resort
chosen
had
quite a lot,
community.
isn't it?
God.
2008.
I'm picking Brawl. General nominees were Grand Theft Auto 4, Fallout 3, Gears of War 2,
Fallout
Metal Gear
3,
Solid
Gears
4.
of
I'm
War
still
2.
picking Brawl. To be fair, I've had my fair share of fun with Grand Theft Auto
God,
4.
we're going
and
real
Burnout
back, aren't
Paradise
we?
came out this year, and that game's phenomenal, but I'm still picking Brawl.
2007.
It's Super Mario Galaxy. Bioshock, Halo 3,
Bioshock.
Mass Effect, Call of Duty 4, Uncharted, The Orange Box. My god, 2007
Halo 3.
was an incredible year.
Yeah, it
That's
was
just
incredible,
getting
just
started. Stuff like Metroid
tons
Prime
of
3,
lovely
Crysis,
games.
God of War 2. Oh my god. It may seem like it was pretty easy for me to pick my game of the year. And it was, but Mario Galaxy had some steep competition
remember
here.
this, yeah.
I mean, the orange box is like, what, 12 games in one or something? And it included Portal, one of the most creative and innovative games of the 21st century.
God, yes.
And not only that, but Team Fortress 2 was also included as one of the 17 games in the orange box. Metroid Prime 3 showcased how well pointer functionality could work for Wii shooters. Crysis was a giant scheme to force you to buy a $1 million computer to run it properly. At the time.
Yeah,
It
that's,
looked nice.
can you still run
Of course,
Crysis in
Half-Life 2 episodes packed
2019?
in as part of the 23
Fucking running
games
that
in the
game in
orange box.
4K is a real
But
bitch.
I'm the simplest of men, and if it ain't in brown shoes walking around planets, it ain't winning Game of the Year.
2006.
2006.
I think that's
home
when
to
I
such
joined
classics as
YouTube back in
Oblivion,
2006.
Okami, Gears of War,
See what
Twilight
games,
Princess, New Super Mario Brothers, but
Oblivion,
I don't care. Because I'm saying my Game of the Year is Wii Sports. Don't worry.
What?
I have a doctor's appointment to get these opinions fixed. Wii Sports was the game with the most impact this year, and is easily the game that brought me
That's
the
because
most joy. Trying it
the
out
game
for the first
shipped
time,
with the
feeling
console
absolutely
normally,
dumbfounded
that's
that they
why.
put me in a video game, constantly playing it with friends and family, ripping it out at parties, and it's still fun to this day. My pick is Wii Sports. Of course, the big battle this year was between Okami and Twilight Princess to see which was the better Zelda game. And Gears of War finally brought the 360 a huge exclusive. But Wii Sports, guys.
Wii Sports. Okay, I'll give
It's
it to
about
that.
time we had another
2005.
oddball
Let's see what
year.
this is
2005
about.
wasn't the biggest, really. Surely some solid titles came out, but overall, not as impactful as something like 2007. Resident Evil 4 is
Resident
definitely
Evil
the big one
4,
of the
my
bunch. This is an
God.
all-time classic, and
My
alongside it, we have
favorite
God of
Resident Evil
War,
games.
Fear, Call of Duty 2, and
Fear,
Shadow of the Colossus.
amazing game.
And I'd say Shadow is my go-to game of the year. I have yet to play Resident Evil 4, so I'm going with this guy. This
Play
game is
Resident
like
Evil
if Punch-Out
4,
was
it's an
open world. You run
incredible
around and you
game.
beat bosses.
That's not amazing, but it's good. Good
An
Resident
oddball
Evil.
year in the form of 2005 ain't enough to take down 2004.
Better
Half-Life
than
2,
Resident
Grand
Evil
Theft Auto
6.
San Andreas, Halo 2, Burnout 3,
Halo
Metal
2,
Gear Solid 3, and on
Half-Life,
top of
yeah.
that, games like Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door, Metroid Prime 2, Pikmin 2. Oh my god, this is what you call a good year for games. But San Andreas is my all-time favorite Grand Theft Auto. I gotta go with that. I love me some Pikmin and Burnout, but come on. You can do this in San Andreas.
Oh boy.
Fucking, I don't know. The oddball year
2003.
returns considering Madden 04 won Game of the Year at the VGAs.
Enter
It's
the
weird because
Matrix,
The Wind Waker
oh,
came out
that's
this
a
year in
good
North
choice.
America, but it came out in Japan in December 2002, so... what
My
year is it
favorite
on before?
GameCube games
Let's
of
go
all
with this
time.
one. 2003 nominees generally were Wind Waker,
Zelda,
SSX3,
The Wind Waker,
Tony
one of my
Hawk's
favorite
Underground, and
GameCube
I will
games
be
of all
completely
time.
honest, none of these outside of Wind Waker really speak to me. But... I will let my
The
childhood
Simpsons
reign
also
supreme
one
and
of
say
my
either
favorites.
Game of the year is The Simpsons Hit and Run.
Hit and
or
Run,
SpongeBob Battle for
incredible
Bikini Bottom.
game.
I have to go with Battle for Bikini Bottom. I picked this game over Wind Waker. Christ.
God, there's so many favorites.
Grand Theft
Like
Auto Vice
I
City,
can't keep
Super
up.
Mario
There's so many
Sunshine,
favorites.
Metroid
Super
Prime,
Mario Sunshine, one of my
Tony Hawk's
favorites.
Pro Skater 4,
Metroid
Kingdom
Prime.
Hearts. Those 365 days were
My
definitely
favorites.
filled up with quality games, which is weird because 2002 never really jumps out to me as a huge gaming year. It even had stuff like Eternal Darkness, but I think you guys
Eternal
know where my
Darkness,
priorities
one of my
lie.
favorites as well.
It's going to Super Mario Sunshine. I played my fair share of Metroid Prime over the years, but never fully beat it, which just won't stop hurting me. I've been able to see how phenomenal this game is, but I've got to go with Sunshine, simply because I've played more of it.
Yeah, 2001.
It's about time. With the launch of the GameCube and Xbox came some heavy hitters like Smash Bros. Melee and Halo, with Grand Theft Auto
Halo.
3, Metal Gear Solid 2, and Ico on the PlayStation 2, and Conker's Bad Fur Day on the N64.
Oh, Jesus,
Even
I remember
with all
that.
these classics, I will definitely say Pikmin 1 takes the cake. I effing adore Pikmin, and there's something about the first one that's just so cool to me. It has a strict time limit in comparison to 2 and 3, and while that could be seen as a downside, I don't know, it makes the game a little more interesting. Overall, I'd say Pikmin 3 is my favorite in the series, which is weird because I didn't even mention that game for my 2013 Game of the Year, but Pikmin 1 is just so much fun to pop in and replay. It's so
Never
easy to
played
just
it.
plow through quickly.
Never
and
heard of
I
it.
love games
Don't
like
know what
that,
Pikmin
so
is.
I'd say it's my favorite game of 2001. Yeah, Melee is great and all, but I already claimed 3 Smash Brothers games to be my Game of the Year. Let's mix some things up. Plus, I'm probably more likely to replay Pikmin 1 in comparison to Melee. Right now, I'd rather play Smash Brothers Ultimate. Even when Halo 1 screens Game of the Year on its packaging, we're going with a personal favorite.
I never had that.
Well,
that
that
Game
was
of
the
Year
quickest
sticker.
6 hours I've ever experienced.
my
It felt like
Halo
22
cover
minutes or
game.
something. And it looks like it's finally time to reveal the winner! And the winner for Year of the Year 2018 is 2018. What the
Oh boy. Okay, so I'm guessing that's the end of the video, so we're gonna pause it there. So yeah, just seeing Scott Dawes go through all those games is totally awesome. I believe I joined YouTube back in like 2006 or 2007 or something like that. I can't remember. It was a long time ago. I think it was the birth of YouTube when I joined. Yeah, I mean, Some of these games I've played before, some of them I haven't. When the GameCube games are saying, oh, that's my favorite, oh, that's my favorite, all of those were my favorites. I would say those are on my top 10 favorite lists. Eternal Darkness, Super Mario Sunshine, Metroid Prime, the Legend of Zelda, the Wind Maker, something like that. All those are my favorite GameCube games. I think my favorite era was the GameCube. Now, I'm sorry to the Xbox original. It has some great games like Halo and stuff like that. But I think the best console I've ever played from my sort of experience is the GameCube. The GameCube is just something I truly remember. When you talk about a GameCube game, I know I get excited and I'm all nostalgic. But when it comes to an Xbox original game, I'm like, yes, it was alright. But when it comes to GameCube, I'm just suckered into that. Yeah, that's the end of the video. If you like this video, make sure to give a like, comment down below, and make sure to subscribe to my channel if you enjoy my content. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.